Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody who has joined us today on our EMA program today. We have a lot of things we need to talk about, a lot of things that are happening here and around the world. Now, I want to specifically talk today about what is happening along the New Madrid Fault. In and along the New Madrid Fault. It's important, very important. Yesterday, we talked specifically about the Pacific Northwest and the volcanoes of the Pacific Northwest, going all the way down the Cascade Range to Northern California, where they met Shasta and Lass, and also part of the Cascade Volcanic Range. This is a little bit different, just a little bit. While we know that the Cascadia megathrust earthquake is going to be at least a 9 to 10.0 magnitude quake, the Pacific Northwest is also going to be at least an 8.0 plus earthquake, a major 8.0 plus earthquake here in the New Madrid seismic zone. The New Madrid seismic zone stretches from the Gulf of America all the way north into Minnesota and the Great Lakes. That's a fact. That's a fact you can take to the bank. Now, folks, what is happening here? What is happening here on the New Madrid Fault? You might ask, what's going on? Why is it so important? To date, now I'm going to take you back through several years now. To date, up until 3 years ago, very little was going on. But seismic activity up and down the entire fault line here on the New Madrid Fault was very minimal, just tiny tremors, 1.0 to 1.9 tremors. That's all we saw. Every time I got a question from any of you, you were asking me what was going on the New Madrid Fault, and I said nothing. The New Madrid Fault was very quiet. 2 years ago, it changed. The situation on the New Madrid Fault changed. It went from just tiny tremors up to minor earthquakes, 2.0 to 2.9 earthquakes. At that point in time, I started reporting on these earthquakes on the New Madrid Fault at least once a week. Yes, we had large earthquakes at 2.0, 2.9. By the beginning of last year, we started seeing small 3.0 to 3.9, and even last year, a 4.0 to 4.9 earthquake happening on the New Madrid Fault. Those earthquakes occurred in Arkansas, Missouri, and also over into Oklahoma. Arkansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. Southeastern Oklahoma. Now, does that area sound familiar? It does. Because the Mississippi River stretches up that area. But that's not all, folks. There's more. A lot more. A lot more than that. Let me show you what is going on. The scientists, through infrared thermal photography from drones, satellites, and also underground penetrating radar, ground penetrating radar, scientists are seeing cracks in the bottom of the Mississippi River. Cracks in the bottom of the Mississippi River. And it's not just mud. These are just not mud cracks in the bottom of the river. Whole lines of cracks like this, linear cracks up and down across the river, from side to side, east to west, north to south, along the bed of the river. Not just these linear cracks, longer, deeper cracks. Longer, deeper cracks ranging in size from millimeters or inches all the way up to meters deep, several meters deep. Now, why do you think that's going to happen? At the bottom of the Mississippi River, folks, we have the new Madrid fault zone. We have the new Madrid fault zone. It's going. It's going. Most of us have been around the Mississippi. Even when I crossed the Mississippi on Interstate 40, headed for North Carolina, I saw heavy ship traffic. Oilers like this, transporting gas and oil to various locations. Great big huge cargo ships as well. Pleasure boats, rivercraft going up and down the Mississippi. But it's not just that. It's not just that. Folks, we are seeing a lot of cracks, seismic cracks. Now, I told myself yesterday I was not going to show any more seismographs, but I want to show you what I see every day, literally every day here along the New Madrid Fault. Folks, this is Evansville, Indiana. Seismic activity recorded in Evansville, Indiana at the University of Evansville. For the most part, this is just tremors. However, you can see the earthquakes hitting here as well. You can see the earthquakes hitting here as well. Also in Missouri as well. Look at this. Look at this. Yes, we're seeing tremors here, but look at this long duration earthquake here. Let me enlarge this so you can truly see what's going on. Okay. This particular earthquake on this black line, it starts at approximately 4:10 in the morning. About 4:10 in the morning. Actually 4:08 in the morning. With just tiny tremors. 1, 2, 3.5 minutes of tremors. The fourth minute of tremors. Then all of a sudden we grow up to a 2.0, then a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Then minor earthquakes after that, ranging in size from 2.0 to 2.5 earthquakes. Then 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes, and then all of a sudden we have a 3.0 earthquake. 3.0 small earthquake. The rest of this is 2.0, 2.5 earthquakes. But the seismic energy continues. The seismic energy continues on the red line on the left at 4:15. 4:15, 4:16, 4:17, 4:18, 4:19, 4:20, before the seismic energy finally drops off. So in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 minutes of movement. 16 minutes of seismic movement. That's just here in Indiana. Then we drop down here to this earthquake here on this green line. Now, folks, this green line here on the left-hand side would be 7:45 in the morning. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes later. Up until 7 minutes later, 4:52 a.m. in the morning. We see tremors, don't we? 4:53, we have a 2.6 earthquake. And then other minor earthquakes. And then all of a sudden, about 2 minutes later, we have a series of 3.0 small earthquakes. Notice very closely, the top of the sequence here, appears to be cut off. And also the bottom of the sequence of earthquakes here is cut off. That means this sequence was larger than they're portraying it to be. By itself, it shows 3.0 small earthquake activity. And we know by example what this means when they cut off the top and the bottom of these seismic sequences on the seismograph. It means those earthquakes were larger than they're showing them to be. That's the case here. This is one of the first times we've seen seismic energy in Evansville, Indiana, to show 3.0 plus activity. The New Madrid Fault, the northern part of the New Madrid Fault. That's not all, folks. There's more. There's a lot more. This also. Look at that. Now, I want to show you this. It's continuing up and down the entire fault zone. Look at this. This is Arkansas. Arkansas, guys. Up until a month ago, we were seeing even larger earthquakes than this. A lot larger. Multiple earthquakes here in Arkansas. A lot larger than this every day. We are seeing 6 to 10, 3.0 to 4.0 earthquakes here in this part of Arkansas every day. Morning, noon, and night. This seismic sequence here lasts from midnight until 12 noon. Even after 12 noon, the seismic energy didn't stop. It continued. 3.0 small, going up to 4.0 moderate earthquake levels. That's what's happening today. This is ongoing. Now, we all know that the New Madrid seismic zone is moving. It's moving. You might ask, Ron, what do you think is going on? What do you think is going on? As I have explained in previous programs, the mid-Atlantic fault in the center of the Atlantic Ocean. You might see the Atlantic Ocean as just that, but beneath the Atlantic Ocean is a huge, huge fault zone. It's the middle of the Atlantic plate. The middle of the Atlantic plate is expanding, going like this. What do you think is going to happen when it expands to a point? We don't know. We don't know the answer to that. But the expansion of the mid-Atlantic plate is putting pressure on the other side of the fault, putting pressure on the east side of the Continental Divide. The east side of the Continental Divide. What does that mean to us? What does this mean to us? Folks, what it means is that we're seeing earthquakes on the eastern side of the United States. Earthquakes on the North American Craton, the Eastern Continental Divide. The Mid-Atlantic Fault is pushing North America and Greenland in a south-southwesterly direction, causing earthquakes on the East Coast. As the North American plate, the Eastern Continental Divide is getting squeezed. The eastern side of the United States is pushing on the eastern part of the Pneumatic Fault. Eastern part of the Pneumatic Fault, which is causing earthquakes. It's causing earthquakes, but it's not just the compression of the eastern part of the United States. It's not just that. Folks, I want to show you something. Just a second. What this means is that we are going to continue to see compression on the pneumatic plate. I shouldn't say the plate, the fault. The fault just like this. Let me enlarge it so you can truly see what I want to show you. Notice the rift zone, the fault zone, beneath the sedimentary layers of the crust. The fault zone, the pneumatic fault zone. What are these red areas to the west and east of the fault? Magma. Magma, guys. This is what I'm talking about. Magma. Yesterday we learned that scientists were seeing magmatic gases when they put the satellites over the earthquake faults. The earthquake faults are leaking magmatic gases. What's going on? They're leaking carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, radon, and even helium-3 and 4. Helium-3 and 4 is coming from the deep part of the earth, the mantle of the earth. We know that there are volcanoes over in Missouri, Mississippi, and Arkansas. There is magma down beneath the fault. Now, when they have flown drones over the Mississippi River, and scientists have visited various parts of the Mississippi River, both on the east and the west side of the Mississippi River, their sensors are recording the gases. The satellites are also capable of identifying magmatic gases along the pneumatic fault. They know what's happening. I showed you pictures of the bottom of the Mississippi where cracks have emerged. We know for a fact what's going on. We know for a fact what's going on. Now, folks, if you don't believe me, you can go and check this out yourself. The USGS earlier this year, January 4th, gave us this information. New signs of seismic tension are detected along the pneumatic fault. The U.S. Geological Survey has identified subtle but significant changes in background stress levels near the New Madrid seismic zone, raising fresh concerns about the region's potential for future earthquake activity. The USGS is admitting, they are now admitting what we've known for a while. They are now admitting what we've known for a while. That seismic energy is building up here on the New Madrid seismic zone. What does this mean to all of us? Folks, like I have said before on other versions of this program, as I said before, the New Madrid fault is building up. The New Madrid fault from the west is being squeezed by seismic energy. The Pacific plate is subducting under the North American plate just like this, subducting under the North American plate. That is putting stress on the western side of the North American plate. The United States and Canada. The United States and Canada is getting subducted underneath, putting great stress. That's why we're seeing more earthquakes on the western side. But it's also squeezing the western side of the New Madrid fault zone. So the New Madrid fault zone is being squeezed from the east and the west, putting additional stress on the New Madrid. Folks, we will see a big, huge New Madrid earthquake probably within the next 2 years. 2 years. An 8.0 to a 9.0 quake. The original quake happened, as we know it, recorded by history, December 1811, up through February 1812. At that point in time, the central part of the United States was sparsely populated. Now, folks, that area is very urbanized. Millions of people live there. Millions of people live there and work there. The highways were only 2-lane blacktops, 1 lane going in each direction, up until about 8 years ago. Then the highways started expanding, both north, south, east, and west. The I-40 going from Arkansas into Tennessee, into Memphis, was 4 lanes in each direction, over a great big huge bridge that spans the Mississippi River. 2 years ago, a canoeist going down the Mississippi River underneath the I-40 span noticed seismic cracks in the steel girders of the bridge. Tennessee Department of Transportation closed some lanes of the bridge, both north and south, because of those seismic cracks until they were repaired. Last year I heard that they had finished repairing the cracks and they reopened all lanes of traffic on the I-40. Well, guess what? So far, there have been no further cracks on the I-40 bridge girders. But there are other bridges up and down the Mississippi. Older bridges, they've been there for quite some time. The 2-lane blacktop roads that we have now, running north and south along either side of the Mississippi River, either side of the new Madrid seismic zone. Those roadways that we have now were horse and buggy paths, cow paths. When the New Madrid earthquake happened in 1811 and 1812, the horse and buggy paths were made impossible to go by. Great big huge fissures opened up and made those horse and buggy paths impassable. Cracks in those horse and buggy paths made those paths impassable. Nobody could go over them. Folks, it's going to happen again. This time the roadways are going to buckle. The roadways are going to buckle. Homes and business buildings are going to crack and fall. Many of the buildings are not built up to building codes that we have presently. They're not built up to California building codes, which are the strictest building codes because of seismic energy. The buildings, the homes are going to crack and fall. As I have reported to you before, natural gas lines are going to fracture and break, causing fires. Water mains are also going to break. Water mains and water lines, I'm talking water that we have pumping from aquifers and through city and county water treatment plants. Those water lines are also going to fracture when this earthquake hits again. What's that going to do? Number one, the gas lines breaking are going to cause fires. The buildings collapsing are going to cause fires. Fire departments are only going to have that water that they have on the fire truck to put out fires. Fires are going to have to be put out by air, helicopter and plane water drops. Roadways are going to become impassable, possibly in some towns and regions. Fire trucks and police vehicles and ambulances will not be able to pass because the roadways have become impassable, impaired. Food deliveries and grocery deliveries throughout this region will not be made. Within about 24-hour time period, store shelves will be raided, looted, for people trying to get something to eat. Gangs that are already flourishing in this area, and other people trying to find some semblance of life, are going to be struggling to eat anything, struggling to go for water as well, as it will be virtually non-existent unless people have stored water. I'm trying to give you the best part of this earthquake scenario as I can. Roger Reynolds here, that's here in the chat says no medications either. I agree. And if you don't have electricity, what happens to your refrigeration units and your freezers in your homes or even in the stores? Non-existent. People are going to die. People are going to run out of medications and they're going to pass away. When I was over in Arkansas at Adam, the Arkansas Department of Emergency Management building in Little Rock, Arkansas, for the disaster drill in 2011, on the anniversary of the 1811 earthquake. When I was there, I spoke to emergency managers up and down the entire fault zone. The first day that we opened up the earthquake scenario, the drill, on the Monday, on the anniversary, there were 3 earthquakes, 3.5 to 3.9 earthquakes on the New Madrid Fault. 2 at the border of Missouri and Arkansas. 1 other earthquake happened at the border of northern Missouri and southeastern Oklahoma, near Tulsa. Some of our earthquake drill people were based over in Tulsa, Oklahoma, because again, this was an earthquake drill, trying to assess the capabilities of personnel when the earthquake would happen. At 7 a.m., just after 7 a.m., these 3.0 small earthquakes hit. 3.5 to 3.9 earthquakes, small earthquakes. We went real world for about an hour because we didn't understand that there would be no more small earthquakes that day. But we were expecting more. So we went real world thinking that there may be large earthquakes, which did not happen. We spent all weekend long exercising the earthquake drill with fire departments, ambulance companies, sheriff's offices, police departments, National Guard services. We even brought in the DEA federal agents. We brought in agents of the FBI, ATF as well, and agents from Homeland Security, because we wanted to exercise these agencies, because these agencies would be very beneficial when the actual earthquake happens. So we brought all these personnel in during this exercise to try to figure out what we would do in the event when this earthquake unleashes itself. Since that time, we had very few, but anything but tremors until last year. Last year, this is when the seismic energy started moving, and moving in a great way. Tremors, minor earthquake 2.0, 2.9, 3.0, 3.9, and larger have been hitting the New Madrid Fault in the last year and a half. That's not all, folks, there's more. We fully expect to have a major earthquake on the New Madrid Fault very soon. It could happen this year. Scientists are saying it could happen this year. Now, folks, I don't want to scare anybody. I do not want to scare anybody at all. Roger Reynolds is in the chat talking about the great big huge mountain from the Alps crashing down into Switzerland. I know all about that. I know the people that are reporting it. Yes, that is an emergency. The village where that mountain is collapsing was evacuated last week as part of the mountain started falling. Literally. The west side of the mountain sheared off. It dropped only several feet, maybe several yards, several meters. It dropped down vertically. Given that fact, any further rock that's falling there has very little toehold. There is almost no tension holding the rock there. At some point in time, that rock is going to collapse. Sweet Polly Purebreds here in the chat saying the whole town is gone. Basically, you have, right. Now, that small town that is getting rained on by heavy rock, most of it granite. We have towns like this all throughout the world. Small towns built between mountains. Small towns built between mountain ranges, valleys. We're going to see more and more of this. Michael Kearney says Baton was a small town. Yes, it was. We're going to see more and more of this. Gone. Collapsed. Buried under millions of tons of rock. Folks, I know what's going on the new Madrid fault. I know very much what's going on. The longer it takes for the new Madrid fault to collapse, for the new Madrid fault to happen with a major earthquake, the larger the earthquake is going to be. The larger the earthquake is going to be. We've already seen, like I said, tremors, minor earthquakes, and small earthquakes. We've seen some moderate earthquakes, 4.0, 4.5 as well. We are going to see large 5.0, 6.0, 6.9, 7.0 to 8.0 major quake on the new Madrid fault. Major quake. It's going to destroy life as we know it up and down the entire fault zone. The last time this earthquake hit, the new Madrid fault, the Mississippi River, flowed northward. It stopped flowing south and started flowing northward, which filled a valley that they now call the Reelfoot Lake. Reelfoot Lake. Water from the Mississippi River flowed into that area. There were probably cabins there and animals that were flooded over. Again, there was only a sparsely populated area. No one knows if that's what happened. What happened was people losing their life with the flowing river and the water in the lake. Is it going to happen again? Probably. Probably. We don't know. We don't know. But what we do know is that it happened in 1811 and up and through February 1812. Is it going to happen again? Probably. Probably. Folks, are you ready? Many of our EMA family members live up and down the seismic zone, the New Madrid seismic zone, north to south, east to west. Are you going to be worried? Are you now worried, or are you ready for whatever happens? We have talked a great deal about this in the past. We're going to continue to address this because it's very important. We talked last night about everyone putting together an emergency preparedness plan, writing an emergency preparedness plan. If you haven't already done it, you need to really start thinking about it seriously. This is not the only major event that's going to happen, that is in the process of happening as we speak. Roger Reynolds says food and water is going to be important. You're right. It absolutely is. There's not going to be any car traffic anywhere near the fault because it's going to be destroyed. The roadways in and out of this area are going to be destroyed. Car and truck traffic will become stopped. Like I said, grocery stores and other stores will be closed down because they're not getting supplies. People will be hampered from moving. People are going to lose their lives. Is everybody ready? I know we have friends of the EMA family here. Are you ready for what's going to happen? Have you written a plan yet? If not, why not? Does your plan recognize any kind of emergency at all? Are you planning for whatever's going on, whether it's a tornado, a hurricane? Yes, hurricane, guys. Next week begins hurricane season. Does your plan cover tornadoes, hurricanes, thunderstorms, hail, fires, rain, flooding? If not, why not? Does your plan include food and how you're going to forage for food and where you might be able to find food for you and your family? I'm not talking about people going to your door, knocking down your door to try to get food and supplies. They also should be preparing for what's going to happen. But many people will say, oh, I don't have to prepare because Molly Jones is already prepared. We know we can break into their house and steal what we want to have. How many people are going to lose what they have because of that very scenario, or lose what they have because the earthquake is going to obliterate their supplies in their home? Are you prepared for what's going to happen? Are you going to be able to escape the area when it happens? I doubt it. Just like we spoke about in the Pacific Northwest. When that earthquake in the Pacific Northwest happens, just like here in the New Madrid seismic zone, traffic is going to stop. Bridges are going to go down. Bridges are going to be destroyed, folks. You won't be able to go north to south, east to west any longer. Your lifestyle is going to be quite a bit hampered. Your lifestyle is going to get hampered a great deal. Now, I wanted to tell you what's going to happen. I have. As I said, I talked to a great many emergency managers up and down the entire fault zone. And I told this story before, and I'm going to tell you now. One emergency manager in Arkansas, his town is right alongside the river near Jonesboro. The emergency manager is also the county coroner. The emergency manager is also the chief mortician at a funeral parlor in the town. the only funeral parlor in the town, the only one. On his property, he has 2 trailers sitting on his funeral home property. Why? Because he knows what's going to happen. He knows that he's going to have to activate the refrigerator units on those trailers to help preserve bodies of people that are going to be killed as a result of the new Madrid earthquake happening. The city fathers of that town, and I'm not going to name the name of the town. You can probably look it up. The city fathers of that town have first proposed to build a bridge across the Rio Foot Lake to evacuate people from that town because there's no other way to get them out. Because of funding, the lack of funding, that bridge has never been built. And as a result, that tiny town will become landlocked after the new Madrid fault opens up. And we have an 8.1 to a 9.0 earthquake on the new Madrid fault. Back in 1812, scientists and geologists thought that the new Madrid earthquake was no more than a 7.1 earthquake. They now realize it was at least an 8.1 major earthquake. 7.1 is still major, but less deadly. They believe that this new earthquake that's going to hit will be at least an 8.1. The last time the new Madrid fault opened up, it made church bells ring in Boston and New York. It's going to happen again. My friend Don Patoka, who is a mod on this channel, asked about 2 weeks ago if that was going to happen again. But would people to the west of the Mississippi, people to the west side of the new Madrid fault, are they going to be affected? How much of the west side of the Mississippi River, the new Madrid fault zone, is going to be affected by the 8.1 earthquake? The seismic energy is going to travel through and over bedrock. It may also be felt, some part of the earthquake may also be felt in California. It may also be felt all the way over in California. Maybe not the 8.0, but the 6.0, 5.0 seismic waves. This is why I'm talking about it. Faith and Truth is asking, there is going to be a character event again? Yeah, at some point in time. Do I think it's going to happen when the new Madrid fault opens up again? I doubt it. I doubt it. Unless there's a huge surge on the electrical grids. That could produce a character event as well. So there is possibly a probability. But I'm trying to get you to think what's going to happen. I'm trying to get you to think out of the box so you can prepare for what's going to happen. My friend Don Patoka just put up in the chat, your emergency plans should include staying in place, sheltering in place, bugging in. If you have to bug out, you need to bug out to a predetermined location. A predetermined location with a map showing at least 3 bug out routes. 3 different bug out routes in case one or two are closed down, or the police and or the National Guard closed those routes. Prepare to use only service streets. The highways and the service streets in this case will probably all be obliterated. Probably only four-wheel traffic, four-wheel drive traffic will be able to overcome what we know is going to happen. Even then, your four-wheel drive vehicles will not be able to overcome the waters of the Mississippi River. You need to make plans. You need to have plans, guys. And you need to write those plans immediately. Immediately, if not sooner. Now, do I think it's going to happen? Yes. I absolutely know it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. Now, as we have reported before, let me do this. As we have reported before, you folks are going to see seismic energy hit. Last night we talked about what was going to happen in the way of the Pacific Northwest quakes and volcanoes going off. We talked about it. I want to take that discussion even further. Let me take down my webcam and take down our emergency banner here. What I've done is opened up the USGS map. You see these red earthquakes here on the map? These red earthquakes are representative of earthquakes that just hit while we've been here on the air. This is a 5.1 earthquake, 39 kilometers south-southwest of Luganville, Vanuatu. But this is only an aftershock. This is an aftershock of an earlier quake right here. This is a 5.9 very large earthquake. Just one step below a 6.0 strong earthquake. Just barely 1 iota less than a strong 6.0. This earthquake happened earlier today, 4:37 a.m. Eastern Time today, near Sola, Vanuatu. Near Sola, Vanuatu. See this island right here? This is Sola, Vanuatu. This earthquake is off the coast of a different island. This earthquake here is off the coast of a different island. That island is not occupied. This island here is not occupied. However, there is a volcano here, an erupting volcano here. Okay? Non-occupied island here. A very large 5.9. Okay? That's the starters. This earthquake that just hit is an aftershock. This is an aftershock. A 5.1. Still a very large earthquake. 39 kilometers south-southwest of Luganville, Vanuatu, out here in the ocean. Both of these earthquakes were out in the ocean. Nobody felt these earthquakes at all. If someone felt these earthquakes, The ocean waters absorbed most of the shock waves of this quake. If they felt anything, they just probably only felt a bare minimum of ground vibration. That's all. A 5.9 earthquake is a very strong earthquake, a very large earthquake. This 5.1 is on the lower side of large. USGS is calling these 5.0 to 5.9 moderate quakes. They're not moderate. Moderate quakes are 4.0, 4.9, regardless of what USGS calls them. USGS is calling them moderate earthquakes because they don't want to admit what kind of damage that these large earthquakes are going to have. We already know that they cause a lot of damage. I've personally seen that in my life. Further down south here along the Tongan Trench, between the Tongan and the Fiji Trench here. This is a 4.8 moderate earthquake, 200 kilometers deep. Still a fairly shallow quake. In the Kermadec Islands. The Kermadec Islands here are unoccupied islands, only by birds. The Kermadec Islands are a bird sanctuary here. The Kermadec Islands belong to New Zealand to the south here. USGS is not talking about any earthquakes here in New Zealand, but there are 26 earthquakes here in New Zealand today. Most of these earthquakes are on or around the north side of the islands, called Raoul Island. They're on the North Island, in or around the North Island here. There are a handful of earthquakes on the South Island. But again, USGS is not talking about those. They don't want to admit what's going on here. Let's go over here to southeastern Australia, just southwest of Sydney, right here. There happens to be a 3.6 more earthquake. A 3.6 more earthquake. Now, folks, there are also volcanoes here on the eastern side of Australia here. Volcanoes there. This earthquake may as well have been a volcanic earthquake. We don't know for sure because on the east side of that volcanic area, there is a chance that this earthquake was a tectonic plate earthquake. The Indo-Australian plate. The Indo-Australian plate. Now, this was not the only earthquake here today. Over on the western side of Australia, right here, right about here, we had a 2.3 earthquake here. It has since been taken down. The 2.3 earthquake happened right here on the western side of Australia. Where we have one earthquake, we nearly always have two. We nearly always have two. This one over on the eastern side of Australia, southwest of Sydney, a 3.6 earthquake. A 3.6 earthquake right there. This is near Orangeville, Australia, southwest of Sydney. Orangeville, Australia, southwest of Sydney. Now, are there more earthquakes? Yes, there absolutely are. For kicks and giggles, let me show you what happened today. What happened today in New Zealand. Look at this. These are earthquakes on or around the North Island and the South Island of New Zealand. Most of these earthquakes are 2.5, 2.6, 2.7, 2.9, 3.2, 3.6, 3.9 earthquakes. Minor and small earthquakes all around New Zealand today. USGS doesn't want to admit anything. Rarely do they ever admit to anything at all. At all. Let's go over and look at Guam. Over here near the island of Guam. Let's look at this. That's the island of Guam. Southeast of Guam, we have a large, very large 5.8 earthquake in the Mariana Trench. I don't believe anybody on Guam would have felt this quake because it is 51 kilometers south-southeast of Inarayan Village, Guam, out in the open waters of the Pacific Ocean. I believe the Pacific Ocean waters absorbed the shockwaves of this quake, a very large 5.8 earthquake. Let's go over here to Iran. Just northwest of Yemen. Just northwest of Yemen right here. This is a large 5.2 earthquake. A large 5.2 earthquake. Iran gets hit by large minor earthquakes and moderate earthquakes as well, all the time. All the time. Again, the Turkey-Syria border region right here. We have a lot of earthquakes. A lot of earthquakes. Is USGS telling us what's going on? Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid. Let me show you something right here. 40 earthquakes here. 40 earthquakes. All of these earthquakes are aftershocks. Aftershocks of a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that hit in this border region, Turkey and Syria right here, February 3rd, 2023. Just over 2 years ago. Just over 2 years ago. 40 earthquakes. Most of those earthquakes are all tremors 1.0, 1.9. However, there are also some minor 2.0 to 2.9, and there are also a handful of 3.0 to 3.9 small earthquakes throughout this area. This area is going to continue to see aftershocks here for years and years because they had a major earthquake here a little over 2 years ago. Earthquakes are continuing to pound this area. They are always going to pound this area. Now, for kicks and giggles, I want to go over here to France, right up here. Now, folks, we know what's going on here in the Alps, the French Alps. A huge display of rock collapsed on the city of Bethel. When we have striations in rock, we have cracks in rock. That's a natural occurrence. But in this case, the striation of rocks caused a landfall. The striation of rocks caused a landfall. Unfortunately, the city didn't make it. But the city was evacuated. The city was evacuated here. Last week when the earthquake started happening, right before the rockfall, people were on the mountain trying to climb it. They were rescued off the side of the mountain before there's further collapse. There are earthquakes all over France, all over Spain here, going down here into Morocco, going out here into the Azore Islands, just south and west of Portugal and Spain here. There are earthquakes down here in the Canary Islands, here. Earthquakes continue to hit the east coast of the U.S. They are continuing to hit the east coast of the U.S. We don't see it here on the map because the USGS doesn't want to put it here. They don't want to admit what's going on here. Now, I've talked to you about earthquakes here in Europe. Over here in Scandinavia, 5 earthquakes here. One in southern Norway right here. This is Vestland, Norway, a 1.1 tremor here. Southwestern Sweden, Lavhagen Inlet, Norway. This is over at the Sweden-Norway border here. That is a 1.2 tremor. Further south at Viken, Norway, again on the southwestern end of Sweden. This is a 1.3 tremor there. Let's go further north into Sweden. We've shown you 3 earthquakes so far. I'm going to show you another 3 here. Dalarna, Sweden. Dalarna, Sweden has a 1.2 tremor. South of there, 1.4 and a 1.0. 1.4, 1.0 west of Stockholm. West of Stockholm in Dalarna, Sweden. Dalarna is a province or a county in eastern Sweden. As we reported before this week, USGS is not reporting anything like that. Unfortunately, USBS is beyond our control. Over here in Iceland, we're showing 2 earthquakes here in Iceland. USBS is not showing them all. Here is a 2.0 earthquake. Minor 2.0 earthquake near that ice sheet right there. Let me blow this up a little more so you can see it. Underneath that ice sheet, there is a volcano. Underneath that ice sheet, there's a volcano. This is a 2.0 earthquake right there. Just on the northwest side of Iceland, near Grimsey. Grimsey is an island on the northwest side of Iceland. This is a 2.1 earthquake here. USBS is not showing them, are they? Nothing. Nothing here. Guess what? Way up here to the north in the Greenland Sea. This is a 4.3 earthquake here. 4.3 earthquake here. A moderate earthquake. A moderate earthquake. This is south of Svalbard and Jan Mayen Islands. South of Svalbard and Jan Mayen Islands here in the Greenland Sea here. Unreal. Unreal. Now, let's go over to eastern United States. USBS is not showing us this. USPS is not showing us. But right here, we have a 1.12 tremor near Stanley, New Brunswick, near Stanley, New Brunswick. USBS is now showing us this earthquake. South there, let me show you where this is. Right up in this area right here, okay? Near Brownmanville, Ontario, Canada. Brownmanville, Ontario, Canada. This is a 0.961.0 tremor here. 0.961.0 tremor here. That is near Bowmanville, Ontario, Canada. Again, USGS is not showing it. They rarely ever show earthquakes like that. Ever. Rarely do they ever show earthquakes like that. I want to go over here to the Southern Cascadia Subduction Zone. The Southern Cascadia Subduction Zone region. Out here on the Gorda Escarpment. This east-west fault running away from Northern California is called the Gorda Escarpment. This is a 2.7 earthquake. 2.7 minor earthquake. Further west here, also just south or on the Gorda Escarpment, a 2.3 minor earthquake. Also here, west and south of the Triple Junction. The Triple Junction here is, and compromises include the Cascadia Subduction Zone right here to the north. The Cascadia Subduction Zone starts here at the Triple Junction and runs north parallel to the shore of North America. Runs parallel to the shore of North America. All the way up here to Queen Charlotte Island, Haida Gwaii. Queen Charlotte Island, Haida Gwaii right here. The Cascadia Subduction Zone. Also down here, east of the Triple Junction, on the San Andreas Fault here, a 1.8 tremor. This is a 2.2 minor earthquake. North of here, this is near Humboldt Hill, California, a 2.3 earthquake. These 6 earthquakes here are in part of the Southern Cascadia Subduction Zone region. The southern part of the Cascadia Subduction Zone region. Now, folks, I'm not through discussing what we talked about last night. Please stick around, you're going to want to hear this. Please stick around, you're going to want to hear this. It's important. Now, folks, I mean that. Your very lives might depend on what we're talking about right now. We have many of our friends and family here in the Cascadia Subduction Zone region. Now, over here on the western side of Seattle, the western side of Washington State, this is a 1.8 tremor here near Aberdeen Gardens, Washington. 2 miles west-southwest of Aberdeen Gardens, Washington. We have one other earthquake here that they have listed just west of Mount Rainier. What a fallacy. What a stupid joke. USGS says this is a 0.5 microquake. A 0.5 microquake. What USGS is saying, just like we talked about last night, they are lying through their teeth. There are hundreds of tremors and also earthquakes here. Hundreds of tremors and earthquakes over here on Mount Rainier. They're not even showing the earthquakes actually inside the volcano. They're not showing anything. Why not? They should be. They're not showing any earthquakes here around Mount St. Helens. Why not? They should be. My buddy Don Patogas here in the chat. A lie doesn't become the truth. A lie doesn't become the truth. Wrong doesn't make right. Evil doesn't become good just because a majority of people accept it. Over here is Mount Adams. We talked about Mount Adams yesterday. We're not done. USGS is not showing any earthquakes around any of the other volcanoes here. None. Let me tell you a story about the Yellowstone volcano hotspot. The Yellowstone volcano hotspot began right over in here, Washington State. Washington State. The Yellowstone hotspot moves south. It moves south. Where did it go? Where did it go? Let's take down my webcam that's blocking the picture here. This is Mount Rainier. To the south here is Mount St. Helens. This is Mount Adams. Okay? But the United States Geological Survey, the preeminent seismic agency of the U.S., is not telling us the truth. They are omitting data. They are omitting data, which means that they are lying to us. There are earthquakes up here, north up here at Mount Baker, just south of the border with Canada. There are earthquakes down here to the south at Glacier Peak. Earthquakes all over this area, but they're not willing to show them. The United States Geological Survey is cutting off its nose to spite its face. They're cutting off its nose to spite its face. Let me show you some other interesting information. Let me show you something else. Where'd it go to? Right here. Like I said, Yellowstone used to be up in Washington State thousands of years ago. Thousands of years ago. This is what the Yellowstone caldera looks like today. The hot spot underneath Montana, Wyoming, right here. They call it the Yellowstone caldera. There are actually 3 calderas over here in Yellowstone. Let me show you something else. Look at this. Down here to the southwest here. Down here to the southwest, where you see the screen spot on the left side of your screen here. Let me enlarge this a little bit more so you can truly see what I'm saying. Where it says 16.1, this is southeastern Oregon. Southeastern Oregon. As we move over to the east, we have 15.13. Down here, at the border of Idaho, Oregon, and Nevada, we have something else. Yes, this is the former hotspot to Yellowstone. The Yellowstone hotspot moved across this area in about 4,000 years' time. But there is another volcano over here at the intersection, the border of Oregon and Nevada. At the border area of Oregon and Nevada. It's called the McDermott caldera. The McDermott caldera, another volcano here. Another volcano that was left over from Yellowstone moving. Guess what? Up until recently, the scientists thought that the McDermott volcano was extinct. Guess what happened this year? The McDermott caldera has awakened. The McDermott caldera has awakened. It's moving. It's moving, guys. The McDermott caldera is moving. It's awakened. It's awakened. Before I let this go, look at the other locations of West Yellowstone. Again, it moved from where it was, where Mount Rainier is today, all the way down here to southeastern Oregon, across southwestern Idaho, southwest of Pocatello, west of Pocatello, north of Pocatello up to Rexburg, Idaho area, all the way up to the border area of Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming, where Yellowstone is right now. The Yellowstone caldera movement. Again, this occurred over 4,000 years. I want to show you something else. Let me show you the McDermott caldera today. Right here. Again, it's literally at the border of Oregon, California, and Nevada. This is the volcano, and the volcano is moving. We are seeing tremors and minor earthquakes here at McDermott caldera, the former location of the Yellowstone volcano. What's going to happen? We don't know. We don't know. but we know full well what is going on in the Pacific Northwest. We know full well what is going on in the Pacific Northwest. We have earth movement, don't we? We have earth movement. It's continuing. We are seeing earthquakes. We are seeing earthquakes. We are going to continue to see earthquakes and tremors here. We are going to see volcanoes erupt. We are going to see volcanoes erupting. Does anybody have any questions so far? Does anyone have any questions so far? Now again, what is going on in the New Madrid Fault Zone has no relationship with Yellowstone or the Pacific Northwest. It is a separate area. It is a separate area. But this area is on fire, literally. Earthquakes up and down the entire fault zone today. I want to show you this because we are going to have a major earthquake here on the New Madrid Fault. It's literally when. It's not if, it's when. Scientists are specifically looking in the area around Arkansas and Missouri, the central part of the New Madrid Fault. The central part of the New Madrid Fault, right in this area right here. We know what's going on. Are any of you here living in the Ozark Mountains? Are any of you here even writing emergency preparedness plans? Have any of you begun emergency preparations for whatever might happen, whatever emergency might hit? Are you ready? Sheila Dean is in the chat. Sheila Dean is in the chat. She lives near Jackson, Tennessee, on the eastern side of the New Madrid Fault. Sheila, did you know there are earthquakes over in Ridge? What's it called? Oh gosh, I can't even remember the name of the city. Actually, there's two good cities, two good sized cities in Tennessee, and they're both having earthquakes. One houses a penitentiary. Tiptonville, Tennessee houses a penitentiary. Guess what? Earthquakes up and down the fault, on the east and the west side of the fault. On the east and the west side of the fault. Do you realize what we're going to see here? Sheila Jean says she lives in Lexington. She said she felt an earthquake yesterday, and yet USGS doesn't show it. Why not? They should, shouldn't they? They should be showing these earthquakes, but they're not. What you had in Lexington, or what you felt in Lexington, was a 3.2 small earthquake. A 3.2 small earthquake. But you'll never get that out of USGS. Now, as I told someone else earlier today, and she's here in the chat, by the way, as I told her earlier today, nobody's talking about this. USGS is withholding the information because they don't want to admit culpability. They don't want to admit culpability in what's going to happen here. They don't want to admit what's going on. When there's a major earthquake here, they don't want anybody to even tell what's happening. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid. Now, things are going to get really bad. Things are going to get very bad here. Why do I say that? Because I've seen it. I've been working through this earthquake for years now. I've been working through this earthquake for years. I've been trying to help you prepare for what's going to happen. But nobody but you can do it. I can't prepare for you. I cannot prepare for you at all. I can give you information. I can certainly share information with you, which I try to do at least on a weekly basis. But it's ultimately up to all of you to take notes, to prepare for what's going to happen, because we know what's going to happen. Sheila Dean says, water line broken? Yes. Water lines, gas lines broken, fires. Oh yeah, big time. Big time. Silly Lily says she's on the west side of the fault, Illinois, Missouri area. Silly Lily, did you know you had some minor and small earthquakes in your area today? Minor and small earthquakes at the Illinois-Missouri border area? Yeah. But again, you're not seeing it here on the map because the USGS doesn't think they have to show it. They don't believe they're even going to have any responsibility. They think that all of a sudden the earthquake is going to hit. And then they'll say, we just had an earthquake. We don't know where it came from. Faith and Truth says Volcano Discovery has information on quakes and volcanoes. You're right, it does. But sometimes Volcano Discovery is wrong. I've seen so many false positives with Volcano Discovery. It's not crazy. Volcano Discovery is not the solution to the earthquakes. What is the solution is you use other maps, use other agencies such as the European Agency and the USBS. Use other agencies. As I said before, I have many solutions up my sleeve. But ultimately, you have to have the solutions up your sleeve. I can't help you unless you listen to me. I cannot help you unless you listen. Pay attention to what we're saying. And then take action to make sure yourself, your family, and friends also have this information. I've shown you an awful lot of information here. Things are still going to happen. I said earlier that I believe we're going to have a 8.0 earthquake here on the New Madrid Fault Zone within the next 2 years. If it gets that far. That earthquake may hit sooner than that. Major earthquake here on the New Madrid Fault. It's going to happen. I promise you it's going to happen. But I'm asking you again, what are you willing to give to make sure you are prepared. I want to show you one other earthquake here. The southwest of Mexico. Happened earlier today, southwest of Mexico. This is the largest earthquake here. The largest earthquake here. This is on the San Andreas Fault. This is a very large 5.9 earthquake. 5.9 earthquake near Aveyah Islands, Mexico. Near Aveyah, Gigedo Islands here off the coast of southwestern Mexico. That was a 5.9 very large earthquake. This is a 5.4 large earthquake here. This 5.4 happened after the 5.9 hit. We also have another aftershock here. This is a moderate 4.2. All three of these earthquakes happened on the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault goes up north here, goes through the Gulf of California, up into northern Mexico, and up here into Southern California. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about earthquakes here in Southern California. Now, I'm not going to show you a lot of seismograms at all. I may not show you any, but I may show you a couple of the largest earthquakes here in Southern California tomorrow. Yes, we're going to see some rather good-sized earthquakes here in Southern California tomorrow. I promise you that. But as you can see, there are already earthquakes here in Southern California. This earthquake here in San Diego, eastern San Diego County. This in the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park, Borrego Springs, California. This is a 3.3 earthquake. This earthquake occurred at 12:31 p.m. today. 12:31 noon here today. Anza-Borrego Desert State Park in Borrego Springs, California. 3.3 small earthquake. We also had other aftershocks as well. Such as this earthquake here. This was a 0.3 microquake. We had microquakes and tremors throughout this area today. After that main 3.3 hit. Now 3.3 is just a small earthquake, but it spawned aftershocks such as this 0.4 and this 0.3 here. Anza-Borrego Desert State Park, northeast San Diego County. As I said, I'm going to show you more and more earthquakes tomorrow here in Southern California. This other red earthquake here, this earthquake is a 1.2 in Garnett, California. Garnett, California. Guess what, guys? This fault is an offshoot of the San Andreas. This is right next to the San Andreas Fault. Garnett, California. 1.2 tremor. On the north side of the San Andreas here to the north, we had a 1.4 in Joshua Tree, California. 1.4 tremor here in Joshua Tree. Again, I'm going to show you a lot more earthquakes here in Southern California tomorrow. A lot. Do we have any questions? Do we have any questions? Faith and Truth is talking about the Oroville, California area. Oroville Dam in California, guys, is right on top of a fault. Right smack dab on top of a fault. Unreal. Catherine Sigerson says MB state of emergency. Catherine, where is a state of emergency? What are you talking about? See something, say something, saying, "Whoo, I can visit my family next month." I hope you can. I truly hope you can. Silly Lily says she's 3 hours north of Lake Ozarks. Cool. Semi-Country Living is asking me, anyone know when Cascadia is going to hit? Scientists are saying it's not going to hit for 25 to 50 years. With everything that's going on, I believe Cascadia megathrust earthquake is going to hit within the next 2 years. Within the next 2 years. I might be wrong, but I don't think I'm far off of it. I don't think I'm far off of it. We've been monitoring earthquakes in the Pacific Northwest for years now, given everything we know about the area. Everything we know about the area. I will have to tell you that it is going to pop within the next 2 years. I don't expect it to go much longer than that. Silly Lily is saying, will the pneumatic quake be by Indiana or Missouri? The center part of the pneumatic earthquake is going to hit near Missouri and Arkansas. However, you're going to feel it all the way up into Illinois, Minnesota, Indiana, and Ohio. Probably all over the eastern United States. It's going to, however, be at least an 8.0 earthquake. That kind of seismic energy is going to make the bells ring in Boston at the churches. That's what happened last time, over 200 years ago. It's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. I guarantee it. There is no way that it's not going to happen. Like I said, I've been watching this for years and years and years. Renee Steffi's talking about a severe storm system. A thunderstorm warning. San Antonio, Texas, to Burnett, Texas, Travis, Texas, Williamson, Texas. Severe thunderstorm warning. Until 6 p.m. tonight, Central Time, which is an hour, about a half hour from now, Central Time. If you're in that storm warning system, get into your storm shelter immediately. Get into your storm shelter immediately. If you don't have a storm shelter, get into the middle of your home, away from the exterior walls or the glass windows of your home. Get into the hallway or an interior bathroom that does not have windows. If you can, pull a bedroom mattress over your bodies and stay hid under the mattress to help shield you from any flying debris or a collapse of your building that you're in. Stay away from exterior walls. Stay away from any glass windows. Get into the interior section of your home or business and stay put until you get an all clear or after the emergency storm warning decides it's going to expire. Iceman is here in the chat. Magnetic shift. Guys, there's magnetic shifts happening all the time. All the time. Faith and Truth is saying nuclear power plants and storage facilities. Look out. Look out. The earthquakes that we're seeing are going to destroy those. You think you have problems now with some of these decommissioned power plants, or even the commissioned ones, or the plants that store the spent radioactivity. Look out. These earthquakes can destroy those facilities. Curiosity says she refuses to commit to any numbers. I wouldn't either. Richard Smith is asking, is 50 old? No, it's not. No, it's not. But understand this. You need to understand that you need to get prepared, and get prepared immediately for what is happening and what is going to happen. Okay? Now, Darian Johnson is also talking about things that we didn't talk about before here on this chat. Darian Johnson is talking about Muslims buying up all the hotels and farmland as well. Between the communists and the Muslims buying up land. They are trying to make Sharia law a law of the United States, and it's not. It's not going to happen. Darian's asking, I wonder if it's so their military has somewhere to stay. No. They're trying to turn those buildings into mosques. Mosques. The Muslims tried to have a Muslim city in Texas where they would not let anybody else into their city. The Attorney General and the Governor of Texas said, no, not over their dead bodies. Not going to happen. That should be the same answer given to the Muslims anywhere in this country. They should not be allowed to buy any property like they've done. They should not be allowed to build any cities like they've tried to do. The United States of America is a republic. It's a republic. It will always be a republic, not run by Muslim Sharia law. Not going to happen. Not run by the Chinese either. In Arkansas, Chinese and Muslim populations tried to buy up land near military bases and buying up farms and everything else. The Arkansas governor said no and terminated the contracts with the Islamic people that were buying up land and farmland, terminated the agreements with China and ran them out of Arkansas. The Chinese people and the Muslim people in Arkansas cannot buy land. Cannot buy land. The Chinese have purchased land near our Air Force bases, near strategic Air Force bases throughout the country. Why? Because they want to monitor what we're doing. The Red Chinese are trying to take over the United States of America. They tried to take the Panama Canal back. I shouldn't say back, they tried to take control of the Panama Canal, but they failed. President Trump saw it happening, and President Trump put a stop to it. And President Trump is taking control of the Panama Canal. Linda V says Tennessee has a huge 250-acre training camp. It won't be a training camp for the Islamic population much longer because our military won't tolerate it. And I know there are enough rednecks in that area either. They won't tolerate it either. Berlinda Mustafa says she's not Muslim. I didn't say you were. I don't think anybody even said you were. But political things are happening. Political things are happening all over this world, all over the country. Some of these political things constitute emergencies. They constitute emergencies as we know it. Are any of you ready for an emergency that's going to happen in your neck of the woods? If not, you better start praying. If not, you need to start preparing. You need to start preparing for whatever's going to happen. Because, folks, that's exactly what's going to happen. It will happen. It will happen. Does anyone have any questions? Does anybody have any questions? Iceman says he's a follower of the Father. Hallelujah. I agree. I guess so, since we don't have any more questions, I can proceed on with our devotional tonight. I'm very much a Christian. I'm a disciple of Jesus Christ. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. In Romans chapter 3, starting with verse 27, where is boasting then? It is excluded. By what law? Of works, ? Nay, but the law of faith. Therefore we conclude that man is justified by faith without the deeds of the law. Is he the God of Jews only? Is he not also of the Gentiles? Yes, of the Gentiles also. Seeing it is one God, which shall justify the circumcision by faith, and uncircumcision through faith. Do we then make void the law through faith? God forbid. We establish the law. We establish the law. We believe as citizens of this country, we believe that we need to honor, sustain, and uphold the law of the land. It doesn't mean just here in the United States, it means all over the world. Wherever you are, you need to obey, honor, and sustain the law of the land. And you will be blessed, not just by doing it, but you will also be blessed by God. In chapter 4, verse 16, therefore it is of faith that it might be by grace to the end the promise might be sure to all seed, not to that only which is of the law, but to that also which is the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all. As it is written, I have made thee a father of many nations, before him whom he believed, even God, who quickeneth the dead, and call those things which be not as enough they were. Brothers and sisters, we are all children of God. We are all children of God. We always will be. We always will be. May God bless and protect each one of us. May God be with us whatever we have to go through. May God protect us and give us faith. Give us the strength to get through whatever we're going to face. Yes, folks, a lot of stuff is going to happen. Yes, it is. But I believe through faith we can conquer everything. We need to make sure we are subscribed to Jesus Christ. Make sure we are reading the scriptures. Make sure we are praying. Make sure we are following the law of the land. Because Christ will bless us. Christ will bless us. Brothers and sisters, please share this program wherever you can share to. Share this program all over the place. Share it to your family and friends, your extended family, your neighbors, to the people you associate with on social media. Share it with the people you work with. Again, as I've talked about with you about the pneumatic fault, it's about to pull apart as well. Seismic energy is hitting up and down that fault. Seismic energy is hitting up and down the length of the eastern coast of Canada and the United States, all over. We don't have much more time. We need to get done what we're going to do. We need to make sure we are good with God. We make sure we have repented. So when we meet God, we are ready. Share this program far and wide. If you're not subscribed to this program, please do it. Please subscribe to this program. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up before you leave here tonight. Subscribe to this program. When you do that, right next to that subscription button, there is a little bell icon. Click on that. There'll be a drop-down menu of three items come up. Click on the word ALL. That way you get subscribed and notified when we come on the air. From now on, I want to come on the air just after between 4 and 5 o'clock every day. I'm going to try to come on the air between 4 and 5 o'clock every day. Please, folks, please subscribe. Share this program widely with your family and everyone else. Things are happening. We need to get prepared for whatever's going to happen. Pray. Prepare for the final Trump bugle. Not from President Trump, but from heaven. Yes, I love President Trump as well, but we need to be prepared for the final Trump from heaven. God be with you this day and always. God be with you until we meet again. From the kingdom of Morganton, North Carolina. Be safe, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.